Hello?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you well. How
All
are
right.
you doing today?
Pretty good.
Nice, good to hear. Well, what do you want to do today?
Uh, I just I don't know. I feel like I took a break from the game, so I came
Right.
back and I feel like I've just haven't been performing as well as I used to, and I've been slipping in rank pretty fast.
So, what are your goals currently? Just any short-term goals?
I guess just improve my positioning and my target choosing, like my target positioning and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that.
What do you think you struggle with in terms of positioning and target priority?
Uh, Sometimes I just get a little tunnel vision on a target instead of moving to higher value targets, like when I'm on a tank instead of going to like a support or a lower DPS. Or sometimes I struggle to figure out how to get to high ground and better situations to get a better view of the map.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. I think we can work on that. Is there anything else?
Not at the moment. I mean, I need to improve my aim, but that's something I can do on my own.
Well, we still can talk about that, or maybe if you're gonna have any questions in the future, you can also ask those. Just message me or use my Discord, send any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Okay?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So, what kind of role we gonna work on today?
DPS mainly.
DPS, okay. And what is the hero?
Soldier.
Soldier, sure. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I think your friend just mentioned you've been playing Soldier recently, if I'm not mistaken. That was you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any codes to start with?
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. Uh, do I just send it in the DMs?
Yeah, sure. Just send it there.
All right.
Okay, so in that game, you still think, for the most part, you did struggle with positioning and target priority, right?
Yeah, I feel like I struggle mostly with positioning.
Mostly positioning. Okay, let's talk about that. I'm screen sharing. Can you see my stream?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. So it's Noom Bunny and you playing Soldier. I think it's pretty viable actually, especially on the defense. You have a lot of potential. You have a lot of long range sidelines to work with. So let's see. See what do we do exactly. Okay, so you start with initial poke. That is fun. Then kind of moving back a little, but then you drop from the position. I assume that was by accident, right?
Yeah, that was by accident. I'm
Excellent, yeah.
eh, still trying to work on my WASD a bit. I mostly play on console.
That makes sense. Eventually, you regain the position. That is fine. We noticing the tank was slow. I think that made sense. Just whenever the tank is killable, just reload speed. You can go on him. So, what do you think about here? What you could have done better with your position? So you gonna avoid dying here. What do you think?
Probably played the corner more instead of just running up forward trying to get the kill.
Okay. So what kind of corner do you wanna lean
A little
towards?
bend there.
So one of the things definitely how you use cover. That is something you can pay attention to at any point of time because you can maneuver pretty quickly with your shift. You can run forward, backwards, maybe left, right as well. That is something to pay attention. How do we use cover so you minimize amount of threats? I just like to say, use horizontal and vertical cover. So this is, for example, here, this high ground here. If we move slightly back, then you put an enemy as close as you can to that piece of cover while keeping your hitbox low. You basically gonna have your head exposed, only head exposed, instead of your body, most of your body being exposed. Because now, if this Hans is looking at you once your body is being exposed. Well, it's kind of not most, but just like this part at least. Yeah. Ideally,
Right.
if we move back, you actually will see the Hanzo because you minimizing the your hitbox as much as possible. The Hanzo only going to be able to see your head, and that actually makes it difficult for him to headshot, but it's still not saving you from the headshot. So I think the first idea, yeah, minimizing your hitbox can work, but how do you prevent the headshot? Is there anything in addition you can do besides the cover? What do you think?
Uh, Not sure. Probably move more.
Well, you could, yeah, movement, just moving left and right, but it's kind of when you look at it as well, looking to get a kill on the Hanzo, which makes sense, but I'm thinking if there is a big threat, whenever we trying to open up the angle, whenever we being active on the map, trying to do something, I think something to pay attention to is how to distract enemy threats, how to make sure those threats and they're not going to be able to kill you, basically. And one part we mentioned cover, that is useful. Another thing, well, what do you think could be useful? What can distract an enemy Hanzo, for instance? Because I think it's one of the highest threats at the moment. So what do you think?
Can distract him
Yeah,
more.
what man to distract him? Yeah, because right now his entire intention is on you because you started applying pressure on him first. You started shooting first. That's why.
I probably could have waited for the ball to slam first.
Yeah, just slightly. Yeah, see, we notice this kind of the cooldown usage, active participation in the fight whenever we see your tanks pressing primary fire, or like in this case, your ball is about to use slam. Is just really important because they apply pressure, some of the attention goes towards here, and then you can execute the kill. Also, it becomes easier, I think, in some
Yeah,
way.
because they're more of a stationary target.
Exactly, because they are stationary, then they cannot move as much, and their hitbox is exposed, yeah. It's quite easy. It's just something to keep an eye on, because I think you can pick like you did if there's not too big sweat potential, if there's not too big burst potential, but yeah, you have to be careful. Like, at this range, I think it can work, but then just work around your movement. Yeah, moving left and right. That is something to add as well. Like, even when you play around the corners, just when you peek the Hanzo before, making sure you're trying to AD sway a little bit more while keeping cover. So see, this is what I mean. Your positioning, notice where we are. You're trying to shoot the Hanzo, but at the same time, this brig can see you, or this Junkrat can see you. Some of the attention goes towards you, which in some cases can be okay, but it's kind of easy. You're not really forcing them to push you. Like, for example, if the Junkrat, he cannot see you because you're a little bit more in the back, then he might be forced to jump up in order to push you. And this way he's using abilities, right? He's using the cooldowns. So might be something you force in the fight, right? So
Right.
notice if the Hanzo is here, okay, what do you think if we play a little bit towards the back, like here, or even towards this, using this cover and leaning towards the stairs here? What do you think? Would it be better?
I guess, yeah, I think it'd be better if I
You
go
see,
to the
yeah.
pillar, but I don't know if I go back, if I walk backwards, if I'm gonna lose like line of sight of him. I don't really
Yeah,
know.
yeah, exactly, and that is the habit you want to try to implement. Make sure you put an enemy as close to piece of cover as you can. So see all the space. The space is useless to us. We don't want it like between the hands and you. Yeah, like this entire thing. This is useless. We don't want to take damage from this space, and we don't want to overexpose ourselves to this space. So you're trying to move back and put the hands closer, so it kind of looks like this. Yeah, and obviously Overwatch is pretty fast, so it's hard for you to constantly maintain the hands on the same level, like constantly in being on this line. But at least you should be in this kind of 1 meter range. Let's say that. Yeah, of course, once you're gonna
Right.
be high in ranks, you will keep him in this line much easier. You see top of 100 players, especially like soldiers, pretty good soldiers, they're really good at it. Obviously, It takes time. It takes time to practice, but still, something to keep an eye on. Just what is your corner usage? So we're minimizing the hitbox as much as possible, and because you minimize the hitbox, you might force the enemy to push you more. Force those cooldowns. But yeah. Well, the fight is over. Have to be careful. Because, yeah, velocity tank especially, so you gotta get the position. Okay. Junkrat is dead. Run up the stairs. Sure, this is quite a good position for you. Okay. So see, even here, just constantly being cautious, yeah, being ready for the shot, because if this is happening, especially against projectile, if you're just exposing your head and you move 1 meter away, you already can dodge the shot. But if you overexpose your body, then there's a chance there's gonna be big threat of just you getting one shot potentially, or getting unnecessary damage. Like, let's say you're in the
Right.
pass, yeah, then move backwards a little so you not exposed to let me see. Actually, pass is kind of difficult here because there's not too much cover, but yeah, even here, just putting this Junkrat as close to this line as possible instead of this Junkrat being kind of away from this line. Because I see you taking those advantageous positions constantly. This is like good high ground usage. Maybe you could have run on that high ground a little bit earlier, but besides that, I think the position is alright. Yeah, definitely keeping in mind the timing as well when your tank is active, the cooldown especially. Yeah, let's say you play with the Reinhardt, you might just swing the hammer and then use charge. That is something you can play around. Ball, it's mostly around the slam.
Right.
So this range you should be safe against the Hanzo, I think. You're doing the movement correctly. Okay, well, he's using Dragon. That's fine. I think the target priority is okay so far as well. You notice when the tank is too isolated and if he's too low, you kind of trying to push him in this case, but then you notice when he's not killable, you switch the target, like here. I think you're doing well. Just flanking as well. You're kind of getting back, taking advantage of your mobility. Why not? I think that looks good. Okay, and now we have to take the position right away. Yeah, make sure you set up. Nice. Okay, you have visor. Your ball slams in. Took advantage out of that slam right away, and got an easy kill on the Moira. The Rhine is dead. Okay. Yeah, so still the same thing around the cover. Making sure you play closer to the corner. And sometimes you do notice this pattern, right? You take the position and it's kind of, that's what you mentioned. We drop from the position sometimes, right? We
Right.
could have
Yeah.
just stayed, yeah. Like this is again an accident, I think. Yeah, you kind of went to the bus, but or was it? Yeah, like was it intentional when you moved on the
It
bus?
wasn't. No, I just AD strafed too hard and just
Uh
fell
huh.
off.
Okay, so just getting used to movement. Yeah, still something to address. You just can keep an eye on that. Yeah. How do you de-strafe so you keep the same position? Because I think it's a good habit. But when you switching from controller to PC, especially, it might be complicated. I totally get it. Okay. A little bit extra damage. Have to run away. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Just could have taken short rotation, but this is fine. This wiser, the positionally, this is good. However, I want you to be careful with this because there's a lot of danger when you drop just like that. Can this guys potentially punish you? Is there anything they can do to like shut down your visor. What's your
The
opinion?
Junkrat could jump up and just grenade me to death.
Yeah, that's what I think. There's just two potential threat, too big of a burst, right? The Hanzo is one with a high burst. Well, they switched the Hanzo, but anyway. And the Junkrat at this short range distance, you want to be careful around that. So it's kind of keeping your range, but then also, again, keeping this, an eye on this. When your ball is in, you can easily destroy those targets a little bit more. Well, maybe you could play the safe distance as well. I think popping the visor in that case would work. But if not, if it can work, then making sure there's a distraction, like your ball usually, something, what makes it easier. Mm-hmm. Okay, just gonna skip this part. Again, you need to set up. Okay, this is good too. I think if you notice, you have an advantage actually pushing up like that. And again, if your bow is doing that as well, because you play around the slams, I think it can give you quite easy kills. You notice where your ball is on the map, and then you can
Hmm.
play there. Yeah, and that's why I think it's not necessary to maybe give up the position then. What you did at the start worked quite well. It's not because well, it's not only because you catching up on those late kills, yeah, just staggers, but keep an eye on this. Yeah, they could have stayed here a little bit longer because your bow is still distracting an enemy. Well, it might be not the best angle for you because you don't have an exact opportunity to get around the shield, but still, because you're taking advantage of your mobility, staying here a little, and then when the fight is gonna happen at the point, you'll be ready. You will be up here. Yeah. See, we kind of
Okay.
in the poke phase, you have this extra advantage. You could actually push up a little bit more, but then make sure you set up for the brawl phase. What I mean again by poke phase is when both teams they're really far from each other, when you cannot actively press primary fire on each other. And brawl phase is when both teams can press that primary fire, they're actively exchanging cooldowns. Mostly brawl phase is gonna happen around the objective. Well, obviously it depends. It depends on where your team is set up too. But yeah, brawl phase, active fight. Most of your team can press primary fire, and poke phase is it's other way around. Yeah. So yeah, could have just stayed. Yeah, like it's interesting to run back, run forward. Yeah, and like at this point, you can set up. When the real fight starts, you have to make sure you have the position. So it just requires a little bit shorter rotation. Yeah, and then you can also stay there too. Right. Okay. It's kind of you will be using this position here and rotate from one spot here to another this way. You might also use this as your position potentially. Okay.
Right.
Do you have any questions so far, or everything's clear?
Everything seems pretty clear for
Okay.
now.
Yeah, I think just mostly positional, right? I think the biggest thing definitely making sure you're not giving up the position, but it's understandable, it's fixable. Just keep an eye on that. How do you stay? Mm-hmm. This is what I mean. You start early fight. You take an advantage of your ability. Do a little bit of poke. You farm. You charge. Maybe you get an early kill, but that's pretty rare. You just try to poke the enemy a little. But then when the real fight starts, you should be ready and set up. And that's what you do. Run back, and you want to make sure you have your good position. What do you think your angle should be if you want to be ready for the brawl phase? Where you should stay?
Probably in that little balcony behind on the left.
Yeah, sure. Balcony works. By the way, you can also get up on this Hagen here if you wanna open up sharper angle, because from the balcony well you kind of have an access to this corner. It's just I'm really concerned with the range because at this range I think you do not do full damage to these guys if you
Right.
that far forward. So you might use this Hagen to just be able to apply some pressure early, and then if they push you, you can always rotate. Kind of I think it's even possible if you do the rocket jump here. Well, you don't have to do it. Yeah, no. I don't think you don't think you can make it, but at least you can just jump and run back here. Kind of maintain your your good angle. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Same idea here with the cover. Being cautious, being patient, making sure you're not overexposing your body unnecessarily, even though there's just not too much of a one-shot threat at this range. It's still important. The Bastion who might deal damage to you. It takes time to move from this position here to this.
Right.
Like it requires 2 seconds, but instead of it, we can be just playing at the corner and make sure we can reach the corner in 0.5 seconds. And you can even use the corners to this extent so you're not exposed to other damage. Like, let's say you don't want to be exposed to Fire Strike, or you don't want to be exposed to something else. It's just you choosing what are you going to deal with. You have one threat at a time. Corners just allow you to do that, just in case. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this stuff even works while you're playing around the corner. Jiggle peek. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because see this cover, because we away from cover a little bit too much. Well, we kind of get stuck here as well, unfortunately, but because there's just too much damage, right? The 4 people can damage you now. A lot of times you have to compensate with your abilities. You have to compensate with your whatever defensive stuff you have. So in this case, you gonna use your E, yeah, because you need to survive, because you've been away from cover too much and this guy's been damaging you a lot. And then eventually you run here, but you don't have your E to kind of help you maintain this angle, yeah.
Right.
Just being more disciplined with the cover. Yeah, let's say this brick pushes you. Imagine you have your E, you're much more confident in winning the duel. And I think there's 100%, almost 100% you win it, probably, if you. Yeah, I think you should. Yeah, you definitely should. If you have your E, there's no problem. Just landing your Helix rocket might be a little bit of a task, but for the most part, it should be okay. So that was defense. Okay, that is attack. Playing different here, but I think most idea is gonna be the same. So far we had corners, minimize threats, making sure you keep your position, but that is fixable. A lot of times we been given up position by accident, so it's okay. And also keep an eye on poke phase, bro phase, doing some damage in the poke phase, a little bit more. Yeah, making sure you can apply early pressure. It's also at this first position, when he was in defense, just you could see you was slightly late, I think, to do the poke. It was kind of okay, but it could be better potentially. Just doing a little bit more damage at the start of the fight. Yeah, maybe going for that extra helix rocket when they're rotating, when they're all clumped up together. Sometimes it's just those small things, but still important to keep an eye. Okay, so what's your thought process with Ash here? What are you looking to do on the attack? Any position you want to take? Control? What do you think?
I think ideally I'd probably want to try to get to the high ground, up to like above
Mm-hmm.
where I was on defense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So going after that top right there, yep.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. How you gonna do that exactly? Just what is the plan? Anything specific or just depends on situation, I guess.
It probably would depend. I mean, ideally you'd probably just want to coach gun up there by
Yeah,
getting on top of the bus and then
yeah, for sure. Okay, you have good sidelines in the Junkrat at the start. Yeah. Mm, mm-hmm. So kind of been waiting for the coach can though. So what was the case for that? Is it be kind of you kind of do not find a good opportunity or
New coach gone up. I wasn't thinking about it at the time.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I've been telling myself more like to try to get high ground as fast as possible because I kind of like would just not do that for the longest time and just try to poke damage.
Right, 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 right. Because especially when there's no threat for you to be pushed because the monkey used the bubble, monkey just went in on your Ryan, something to keep an eye on. There's nobody who can really contest you, so taking advantage of the high ground just in case, using it for a little bit extra advantage. Because I was mentioning this first idea of making sure you want to minimize the your hitbox, but at the same time, what you want to do is to expose an enemy team a little bit more. Make sure their hitbox is more visible, and here you're making the enemy's hitbox much less visible because there's a lot of cover in front of
Right.
you. There's a car, there's this room, they can use. But if you go here, now you're not giving an enemy team a chance. Well, of course, there's a chance still for them to hide behind the cover, but it's gonna be harder. For Anna to reach the corner, it requires much more time compared to the position if you're on a low ground. If you're on a low ground, she
Right.
can do it as soon as possible. Yeah, so something to keep an eye on. And if you're here, you also most likely can get your teammate killed as well because the monkey can dive all of you guys. You get your mercy killed basically. You you like your you like to play if you have a mercy pocket, especially you
Right.
like to
If I had gotten the high ground, she
yeah
could have
yeah
just guardian to me and been fine.
yeah exactly. That's just something to take advantage of as well. A lot of times, if there's a pocket, if there's a mercy, playing on more offensive angles, more flanky, even sometimes quite viable, so they can fly towards you.
Right.
Always. Now they switch to Mercy for no reason. Yeah, they could have stayed with yeah. Just a little bit faster with rotations on the good position. Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you think about this angle here? So you take an advantageous position, it seems like it's the high ground. That is something you can take advantage of by exposing the enemy's hitbox a little bit more. But what do you think about the quality? Is it good enough for us? Are we? Yeah. What do you think about the quality of this position?
It's probably not the best, especially since the tank is in here and they have a Junkrat, so he could just
Right,
grenade me down the field and I could just eat random grenades.
right, right. So see, you kind of have this limited vision. I think as well. This is more of a shorter range space compared to this. So that is something to keep an eye on, making sure you instantly set up on the long to medium range angles, not shorter range like this, because that is where, again, Junkrat's more useful. Yeah, this is enclosed space. You like more open, long range angles to work with, because this is when, if somebody goes in you can also poke them down before they reach to you. In this case, you cannot do that because Junkrat can jump to this corner and then fight you right away at the short range. Yeah, so making sure there is no opportunity. We have distance from angles this way. Just working with long range. Even though you don't have the mercy, it's okay. Because you have the Kiri, by the way. She can still help you. She can always stay on the off angle with you. Okay. Mm-hmm. Definitely keeping an eye on who can punish you on the high ground, but if they use their abilities, if they cannot punish you, take advantage of that. The monkey, if he jumps somewhere, especially, you try to take the position. Yeah, like okay, like now he jumped away. You might think about start going towards that position. Well, the Junkrat is there actually, so yeah, you have to poke him out first. Like going to the bas here, just get rid of him, and then later going up there. I think this is
Right.
This is quite viable. The dynamite's good, I think. Winston went by himself, and see, this is just the same idea of making sure you a little bit towards here instead of it being towards this side of the map, and maybe use this corner if you want to shoot the Ana and move back as well. So it's the ideal movement should be while you scoped in, move back. So no, it's like diagonal. Yeah, move this way because you want to put an enemy Ana closer to this cover while being safe from these guys. Just something to keep an eye on. Because this what makes it easy for you to dodge all the stuff. Even though they using the sleep dart, they use the grenades like that. Might be easier. Well, do we survive there? I see how exposed you are. There's a soldier damage, and then there's a Junkrat's damage as well. We put ourselves just slightly towards here, I think. Or you can use this high ground and only be exposed to Junkrat, which I think might be even better, to be honest. So see, you have options, always. You have options, what are you about to do? Because you have an extra advantage versus the Junkrat at this range might be... Yeah, might be quite good. The soldier, you kind of in a similar situation. You deal the same amount of damage to each
Right.
other. Kind of. Well, it's obviously soldier likes to be on more. He likes to do continuous damage. He's not as bursty compared to you, so he's definitely. I think he's a little bit of disadvantage, but yeah, we want to deal with one threat at a time while using all those corners cover. Okay, you have your bob. So let's see, what are we gonna do with that? So besides looking at this game, is there anything else you want to do? Maybe you want to go over any other game, or going over this game just fine?
I have another game that I feel like I did pretty well on Soldier as well. That's on a different map.
Yeah, if you want, just focus on Soldier a little bit more. We can do that because yeah, I see this part here. You play Ash, so yeah, you just what do you like? You like to go this map still, or
We
what's
can
it?
try a different map. I think that'd be better.
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, it's up to you.
Where is the other one?
Let's see. Okay. So what was the main problem in this game? Is that still the same, the positioning, target priority, or anything else?
Yeah, I feel like it's mainly the positioning.
Positioning. Let's see if there's a pattern. Let's notice. Okay, so this oh you just okay. Do we want to watch the Hanzo here, or do we want to skip where you play soldier?
You can probably skip to the part where play Soldier. Like I tried playing Hanzo, I'm not very good at Hanzo.
That's okay. Oh, play 2 points actually got a lot of value. It seems like, right?
Oh, the screen's not showing up for some reason.
No, the screen is not showing. I'm gonna re-screen share. Okay, is
There
it
we go.
working?
Yeah.
Okay, so right after here, I switch to soldier. It's your comfort pick pretty much, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Might be a little bit tough, I think, on a certain point because there's a lot of short range space to work around, but somehow finding value with him still possible, obviously. Let's see what we can do. So you choosing this long range angle at the start. This is fine just to poke a little bit. Right. Mm-hmm. So my question is, how do you take advantage of the soldier here on this part of the map? Anything you're looking for in specific? What do you think?
Uh, it would probably have to be getting to that window up top where the Genji was and poking from there.
Could be. So you can do continuous damage from the window. Mm-hmm. Remember the idea of making sure you not exposed to the enemy as much while being able to expose the enemy, like make sure they are away from cover more. If you hear, there's a bigger potential for you because Torp, Zenyatta, Mercy, they cannot reach cover as quickly. And you, on the other hand, you can play this position. Like, let's say you want to poke Torp, then we go back a little this way, and we poke from this window. If we want to be only exposed to the Mercy or Zenyatta, then we move this way. Constantly keep an eye on that, putting the enemies away from cover while being closer to cover. I think you want to do it as soon as possible in Syria, just making sure. Yeah, making sure you go there. So probably staying there right at the start might be a little bit complicated for you because you cannot do continuous damage at that initial position because the enemies they can hide quickly.
Right.
You still got value, I think, and you got a mercy, which is nice. But who knows? Maybe you can win the fight with the less resources because you set up at the better position. This angle is good, so the same idea. Poke, damage at the start, but be ready for the brawl phase to be happening. There's Nyara's Discord. Could we stay at that position? Let's see. Yeah, I'm just thinking. So kind of not only damage, but then you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What do you think about here? Actually, like, could you stay a little bit longer, or should you run away? Yeah, what's your opinion?
I feel like I should have ran away because I
Yeah,
was discorded and like the enemy was starting to focus me more.
right,
So I feel like I would have gotten bursted more because of
right.
Discord on top of everything else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't want to eat a random May icicle to the face. They just would have killed me with Discord.
Right, right, right. I think it's definitely maybe even not more about the Discord. It's just the fact that there's a short range threat which is about to push you. You wanna keep a distance between them and you, so you run away. But if there's no threat from them, then I think you probably can stay because you can take advantage of the corners. Yeah, let's say you
Right.
lean towards
That's
this left, then you should be okay. I'm just thinking, making sure you run at this right period of time. So making sure
right.
those
That's
rats
a
are really, they can really do some damage to you. I think if you're in a dash range, for example, and if May can start freezing you, that's the time when you run away. Ideally, ideally. Uh,
right.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, that's another thing is that I leave positions too fast because I give the enemy too much respect, and probably more
mm-hmm.
than I should.
Yeah, I think here just staying a second more, maybe a second more, and then run. If you stay a second more, by the way, you get rid of the Discord. If you lean towards the corner, respect the corners more. Yeah, and you kind of forcing enemy resources this way. See, it's not that you're not gonna run away. No, you're just dragging some of the attention because they have to spread their power. They have to spread their resources now. It
Right.
requires, yeah, it's really important. Maybe Genji will have to use dash as well. You might seem killable, but you're not in reality because you also have your E, mm, and your mobility. I think taking advantage of that so you can stay on your angle longer is really important. So it's not only corners, how to use those, but even abilities. They allow you to stay on your
Right.
position a little bit longer, just in case, obviously. Yeah, if you have to run away, like in this case, if the Genji is too close, well, you respond with your E. Ideally, respond to the dash. You did, and you should actually kill him. If you do everything right, you should kill him. Yeah. Run to another angle. Nice. Okay. Let's see how we do on the defense here. Okay, so you started on this high gun here. Okay, and then you notice there's a Widowmaker. That's why you choose to reposition, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Makes sense. Definitely don't want to be exposed to Widowmaker while you're dealing damage. I think you have a disadvantage versus her, so yeah, be careful. Mm-hmm. Lost your Ryan, so you have to run back a little. Makes sense. There's just a difficulty for you to do continuous damage, though. That's my main concern. It might seem that you do some sort of damage, right? Because there's a hog. You kind of can farm him a little bit, but there's just almost no option for you to get a proper kill because all the enemies, they're really close to cover. If you're trying to do any damage, they can instantly hide around the
Right. I see.
corner.
Yeah.
So where you should be going right away. So the fight is over. What kind of position allows you to kind of expose an enemy team a little bit more? What do you think?
If I could get to the high ground up there right by the point.
Mm-hmm.
But I keep
Mm-hmm.
like I'm
Keep
it's,
forgetting.
I keep forgetting that there's like a ladder that like a staircase to get up there and stuff. I keep
Okay, okay. Well, that's fixable, I think. Once you play more and more, you just remind yourself it's not even about this map. Yeah, being ready for this map is just being ready for the concept, making sure every fight, once you going into another one, rather being set up, being in a good position, it's more important than just dealing damage blindly. Yeah, obviously,
Right. Yeah. That's
yeah,
an yeah.
yeah. It's just how do you practice that? Well, you choose that concept, maybe give yourself a reminder, put a sticky notes on the monitor near the monitor, so maybe have an alarm which reminds you to actually keep an eye on the sticky notes. You have it every 30 minutes or so, so it's just reminding you not to autopilot but be consistently on something, on one topic. Because if you hear, definitely I think if you even wait a little bit extra time, you just don't do anything, you notice the enemies are away from cover and overexposing, then you take advantage of that and kill somebody, like Grizznyara, for example, or maybe Mercy. But he's just much harder. That is where maybe that's where you could play as Cassidy in theory, because with the Cassidy you have consistent, more bursty damage output. It only requires you to kind of hide around the corner and then peek out, hide around the corner, peek out to do decent amount of damage, and you can just sweet up somebody. With a soldier, it's not the case.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, you have to either take advantage of the mobility, run somewhere, flank, take an angle. Yeah, here that's where you'll play like more burst, burst casty. Ash, you would play Ash here, but on the high ground probably,
Right.
because you need more line of sight. Yeah, soldier, you need to be more flanky all the way right, like choosing that top. Okay. And that's why it's like a little bit difficult because all of your core is just stacked here. It's complicated. Well, when you just got out the spawn, let me see. There's just one exception, kind of. If you know you get a free kill, then I don't think you have to go in a position right away. If you know there's a possibility for you to easily kill somebody, I think you can stay, but if not, then I think you should set up. Like, let's say you got a kill on the Torp. Okay, now there's no kill you can get anymore. Probably go somewhere else and set up.
Right. I see what you're saying.
Well, the Hog is using ultimate, so might seem complicated. But yeah, for example, even well, yeah, the fight is over probably. So yeah, you have to run back. But then the same idea. We're gonna be being ready for the next fight, making sure you set up. I don't think even staying here dealing that early damage here is necessary. You can just go up and deal the same amount of damage, but you just set up slightly better. You're exposing the enemy slightly better. Yeah, exactly. Like, just going here right away, right away. And if somebody goes on you, you always have cover. You always have your E. There's a shatter. Well, you can follow that. That's good. Okay, nice. And you can set up. You want to do poke? Well, this can also work maybe, like, as I mentioned, if you have time to run this way and shoot the enemy a little bit in the poke phase, it's okay. Just be ready for the brawl phase. Hmm. Let me see. You probably... I just do not like this angle. What do you think about here? I think the angle could be better. Like, it's okay, but it could be
Right.
better. What do you think? What could be better? Why this angle might be not as good for you in this current situation?
Because there's probably that big piece of cover for them over there, so it's harder to see them. Rather just move
Yeah.
more to the left, and there's windows,
Yep.
and there's like nothing for them to be covered by.
Exactly. Exactly. We move here and we exposing the hitbox more. Yeah. Like this here as well can work. Then Yara, it requires him to reach, like, go 2 meters here or 5 meters there to reach the cover here. They can hide around the cover kind of as soon as possible because, yeah, because your team is taking the fight there as well. Something to
Right.
have an eye on. I think you also do not have enough range to actually deal decent damage. Well, from here, if you slightly to, this position, I think it could work, but at this range, dealing damage on the bridge, for example, might be complicated. Mm-hmm. You can obviously switch. You can run from one angle to another. I think a little bit optimistic wiser there.
Yeah.
It's one of the things where somebody needs to distract, and you also need that setup. You just that main position where the car is moving. Most likely, you're gonna get your visor shut down. You need unpredictability factor and making sure the enemies are distracted. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think the timing is like the main problem really. It's you're probably right. It's just the positional factors, being more disciplined. Yeah, this part of the map might be a little bit challenging for you because it's just not too much of a. You don't have really good long range sightline to poke around. Of course, you can kind of set up, go there right as a soldier, use this sightline. I think that's your main play, probably. Or you play in this, yeah, at this angle. If the enemies they go towards this position, just close to capping, then you play the right side there or left side closer to spawn. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is early damage in the poke phase. You can maybe get a pick. Maybe push that soldier away. That's fine. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's one thing though. You don't need to poke as much if you have an ultimate. So it's just if there's a goal like getting somebody out of position, maybe you choosing to force certain cooldown or get a kill. I think this is a good choice to poke. If not, if you're just farming your ult, then probably don't do that because you have your ultimate already. Yeah, just something to keep an eye on. You see what I mean? If you shoot that soldier, you might force his E, you might force him to reposition. Same about Zenyatta as well, and maybe that Mercy, for example. But yeah, definitely make sure you're ready for the real fight, for the brawl phase, and then you can wiser once they push. Yeah. Oh, I thought you would get that Zenyatta. You just okay, just he jumped over there. Yeah, I think in this case he's just aiming towards the floor.
Right.
Could
Yeah.
be slightly better. Hmm. It just seems like you kind of get in positions even here, and then you give it up too quickly. Well, of course, there's like might be a reason for you to do that. As I mentioned, giving up the position. If you can get a kill, that might be worth it. But I also think you can get a kill while not giving up the position as well. You can get a kill on the torp, as an example. Yeah. So
Right. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
it's a little bit complicated. We kind of jump in sometimes. Yeah, you. Mm-hmm. Can keep an eye on that. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Well, I think we can kind of summarize all of what we mentioned today in that session, and then think what we can work on next. Is that sounds good?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So what do you got out of today so far?
Uh, work on the angles a little bit more, back up more, so I don't expose myself too much to the enemy while I'm trying to take, like trying to kill an enemy. I don't know what to say.
Mm-hmm. So you're
Uh,
using, I'm just gonna say you're using those horizontal and vertical corners to minimize your hitbox. So ideally, we only want your hitbox, your head to be exposed. You're putting enemies close to that piece of cover as you can, so it's gonna be harder for them to hit you. That makes sense.
all right.
Okay, what else?
Not giving up my positions as quickly as I do,
Hmm.
and also rotate faster, and instead of just doing needless poke damage, try to like find a position where I can do more damage than I would just doing nothing but standing in the place and just shooting.
Yeah, definitely. So it's kind of before every fight, especially with soldier. I think be set up. Yeah, rather be set up to do continuous damage. Continuous. Continuous damage. It's kind of gonna be this idea as well. So you put an enemy away from cover. You not giving them an option to hide around the covers quickly. Yeah, you really making it difficult for them to reach any piece of cover. That is the ideal position for you to take. Yeah, there's a difference always when we choosing to play. Like let's say in this example here, you've been fighting at this angle where they can hide instantly, and let's say you're flying somewhere. Like imagine you up here and they're out in the open more, they're away from cover more, but you using your cover as well. You can always maneuver around the positions. You can always do not be that overexposed, basically. Does it make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. To do continuous damage. Okay. Is there anything else?
I'm not sure.
I think for the most part, yeah, for the most part, that was it. It's just with Ash, something specific, making sure you set up on long range angle right away. Set up on long range angle right away. It's just the differences between the Ash and Solji is that with Solji you need to be more flanky, sort of. You need to kind of, because you need to do more continuous damage. You don't have as much burst.
Right.
You have to, yeah, you have to flank more, take advantage of your ability. Okay, so I'm gonna write it down. Set up a long range angle right away. It's for Ash. Other than that, I think ability usage been fine. Don't forget that you can maintain your angle longer because again use cover and use your abilities as well. But I think that is something we can talk about more actually if you want. If you gonna do another session, I think might be worth it to talk about your usage, just when to use it, where to use that as well, just more in depth, and something like Helix Rocket. Mm-mm-mm. Maybe more mechanical. Talking about the movement actually might be good as well, especially if you. So, what was the time when you switched from console to PC?
Oh, you when Overwatch 2 came out, so like about a year ago.
About a year ago. Yeah, I think you probably should be getting used to general movement. Yeah, maybe we can talk about it more in depth. Just with as a soldier, it's quite important when, yeah, when do you strafe, when do you dodge? Because I see there's sometimes certain pattern like you might do a little bit more with the movement as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, might be good to talk about something like that. Okay. Yeah, probably starting with those topics. Okay. So what do you think? What we